Good morning, students. This video is only for the revision purpose for your online Unit 1 examination. In this video, I am going to tell you that which are two chapters which are coming in your Unit 1 examination. So, in history, nationalism in India will come in your unit examination syllabus, and second one is political science lesson power sharing. The reason behind to select power sharing is that after the revised syllabus of CBSE are 3 chapter of geography and 1 chapter democracy and diversity from the you can say economics has totally just deleted. So that's why I have selected 1 chapter from history and 1 chapter from civics or the political science power sharing. So it is very clear that what is your Unit 1 SST syllabus for your online Unit 1 examination. You supposed to learn history, lesson 1 nationalism in India, and in political science you have to learn all the term definition, whatever question, whatever content I have explained, the question will be based on only these explained content or the NCERT how much we have completed. Okay, so it is all about your history and political science one chapter for your Unit 1 examination, online examination for class 10th. Now in this video, as I told you, we will revise these both chapter, that what are the important content or the definition or the summary of these both chapter as a revision purpose. So first of all, we will highlight and we will once again try to understand the chapter nationalism in India, what were their key points. So modern nationalism in Europe was associated with the formation of nation states. New symbols, icons, new songs, ideas forged new links and refined the boundaries of the communities. As when we talk about the modern nationalism in Europe, it is connected with the formation of nation states, that how the different independent nation emerged in around the world. And you know very well that if we talk about nationalism in India, then how the different symbols were used by the nationalists, their icons, their new songs in the form of hymns, and their ideas to support the nationalism by the painters, by the artists, by the poets, how they all come to with one vision that they need the nationalism in India, as they want the freedom from the Britisher. Second, in India, the growth of modern nationalism is closely linked with the anti-colonial movement. When we add this nationalism with India, then in India we closely linked, associate the nationalism with the anti-colonial movement. It means when we say nationalism in India, it is closely related to the all the movement which oppose the colonial rule. It means British rule in India. The First World War, which was held 1914 to 1918, was a great event in world history. As we know that when the First World War held, it was for 4 years. What was the effect of the First World War? Not only in the Allied and Axis power, but on the India also, on the economic front, it is having very adverse effect in India also. The First World War created many problems for the Indians. Now the Indians are connected with the First World War, that the First World War was created many problems for Indians, especially in the economic field. As I told you that in economic field after the First World War, and there was a great problem for the Indians. The First World War led to a huge increase in defense expenditure, and therefore the British government increased the taxes, custom duties, and introduced income tax. That when there was a rulership of Britishers in India, then there was after the First World War, the economic condition of Indian people were so much adverse, and how the Britishers want to solve their this situation, that they impose heavy taxes, custom duty, and even they have introduced income tax on the Indians. So here the Britishers want to get money from the you can say economic exploitation of the Indians. That's why we closely linked the First World War with the nationalism in India. The forced recruitment, now the another step of Britishers, the forced recruitment in rural areas created an upheaval in the Indian society, resulting in a widespread anger among the people. Not only they were the Britishers after the First World War, to smoothen their economy, they imposed the heavy taxes, custom duty, and they introduced the income tax for the Indian, but they also forcefully recruit the rural people and resulting in their army, and that's why the result of this forced recruitment, the Indian people were becoming so much aggressive and there was so much of anger among them. So at the main time, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, it means Mahatma Gandhi, returned to India in January 1915, and in 1915 the Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi returned to India. He believed that the dharma of non-violence could unite all Indians. Now, first of all, Mahatma Gandhi ji thought that if we want to get rid of British rule, then first we have to unite all the Indians. And how we can unite all the Indians? With the path of non-violence. That only with the love and affection we can unite all the Indian people together. After arriving in India, Mahatma Gandhi successfully organized Satyagraha movement. Now we are coming to the point that how the First World War held, what was the effect, how the Britishers want to exploit the Indian people to balance their economic structure. Then Mahatma Gandhi ji returned from the South Africa, and then how he has visited India several places, and he come out with the one idea that he has to organize Satyagraha movement to achieve you can say to unite the Indian people first of all, and then to achieve freedom. In Champaran, Bihar, these are the places, Kheda in Gujarat and Ahmedabad in Gujarat. These are the main important districts where Mahatma Gandhi ji visited and saw the challenges among the peasant, among the farmers, and among the cotton mill workers, that how they were exploited you can say badly by the Britishers. Satyagraha was a noble method. What was Satyagraha? When we talk about the Satyagraha, Satyagraha was a noble method of truth and non-violence which Mahatma Gandhi adopted in his struggle. That throughout the chapter Nationalism in India, we studied so many movement and struggle by the Mahatma Gandhi ji because he has led all these movement. So but the basic idea of all the struggle, and especially the Satyagraha, it was the first movement towards achieving the freedom from the Britishers by the Indian, that it was focused on the truth and non-violence. In 1919, Gandhiji decided to launch a nationwide Satyagraha movement against the proposed Rowlatt Act. We know that how the Britishers imposed the Rowlatt Act when the Britishers saw the unity and the strength of the Indian people under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi ji, as the Satyagraha movement was getting success. So they imposed the Rowlatt Act. Jallianwala Bagh massacre took place on 13th April 1919 in Amritsar. Then Khilafat movement was started by famous Ali brothers Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali in 1919 to protest against the injustice done to Turkey after the First World War. It was also explained by me that how was the Jallianwala Bagh massacre held, how the General Dyer brutally fired the innocent people in Amritsar. Then Khilafat movement also, that in 1919 how all the Muslim community united with each other with the Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi in famous book Hind Swaraj, Mahatma Gandhi has written in his book Hind Swaraj, declared that if Indians refuse to cooperate, British rule in India would collapse within a year and Swaraj will come. There was a book Hind Swaraj in which Mahatma Gandhi ji has written that there was a challenge that why we were having the rulership of Britishers in India, as there were Indians who cooperate with the British, and that's why there was a rulership of Britishers. And if we will not cooperate, if we would not cooperate, then surely within 1 year there should be a Swaraj in India and all the Britishers has to be ruined. Now the non-cooperation Khilafat movement began in January 1921. the non-cooperation Khilafat movement, and it has begun in January 1921. Various special groups participated in this movement, and we know that in January 1921, non-cooperation, earlier the non-cooperation movement, now the non-cooperation Khilafat movement, where Mahatma Gandhi ji thought that if we want to achieve the freedom from the Britishers, then the Mohammedan community also come with us. That's why he has started the non-cooperation Khilafat movement, where the Muslim community also joined hand with the non-cooperation movement, and various social groups also participated in this movement. British institutions, school, colleges, foreign goods and clothes were boycotted. Under this, that it is also that non-cooperation movement, that how the Indians showing their non-cooperation, where they are not cooperating with the Britishers. So under it, all the schools, college, foreign goods and clothes were boycotted. The Indian people who were teachers in the British school and professor and colleges, and the foreign goods and material all were boycotted. The Indian people were not ready to be the part of British services, and also that they are not using the British made clothes. Now the movement drew into its fold the struggles of the peasant and tribals, which were developing in different parts of India in the years after the war. Even after the First World War, the tribal people also, the rural and the city people, not only these people but the tribal community also affecting with the idea of satyagraha and non-cooperation movement by the Gandhi ji. That's why these tribal community also come out, they were ready to be against of the brutal policy of the Britishers, and they decided that they will also took part in the satyagraha, non-cooperation and civil disobedience movement. Under the Inland Emigration Act of 1859, plantation workers in Assam were not permitted to leave the tea garden without permission. As we know that Britishers every now and then they are ready to impose a new type of act to exploit the Indians. So they also passed an Inland Immigration Act of 1815, and under it the plantation worker in Assam were not to be allowed to leave the tea gardens where they labor, where they work hard, where they do their work without permission. When they heard of the non-cooperation movement, thousands of workers defied the authority, left the plantation and headed home. Now when they when these Assam plantation workers had heard about the non-cooperation movement, they also show their non-cooperation, and they also without permission they were leaving the particular area of their duty work of the tea garden, and they are moving forward as they charged their soul with the feeling of non-cooperation movement. Next, when we talk about the nationalism in India, the plantation worker interpreted the term Swaraj in their own way. They imagined it to be a time when all their troubles and sufferings would end. Now, the plantation workers took the idea of Purna Swaraj or the Swaraj, it means freedom, by their own way. According to them, Swaraj means that there will be a final end of their sufferings and exploitation in one day. Next, when we continue the revision of this chapter, that in February 1922, Mahatma Gandhi decided to withdraw the non-cooperation movement, as there was a violence effect of non-cooperation movement. So in 1992, in February 1992, Mahatma Gandhi withdraw. They had withdrawn this non-cooperation movement. Then the British government appointed the Simon Commission to look into the functioning to the constitutional system in India and to suggest changes. Now again, British come out with the tool that they introduced a Simon Commission. Simon Commission arrived in India in 1928, and it had 7 members. It did not have any Indian membership, so it was boycotted by the Indians with the slogan "Go Back Simon." Simon Commission, when it arrived in India in 1928, it was greeted with the slogan "Go Back Simon." It is important, "Go Back Simon." It means the Indian people are not ready to listen to adopt any final decision of Simon Commission, because all the 7 members were Britishers. There was not a single Indian of this member. In December 1929, under the presidency of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the Lahore Congress formalized the demand of Purna Swaraj, of full independence for India. Now, after the non-cooperation movement, after the civil disobedience movement, in December 1929, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, under the presidency of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the Lahore Congress formalized and they demand for the Purna Swaraj, not Swaraj but Purna Swaraj, means full independence for India. Mahatma Gandhi found in SALT a powerful symbol that could unite a nation. Now we are talking about the SALT March and the Dandi March. Now Mahatma Gandhi thought that the salt is a common ingredient which is consumed by the rich or the poor in the same way. So he thought that why we shouldn't make our own salt, why we purchase the British made salt. On 6th April 1930, important, Gandhiji reached Dandi, a village near a sea coast in Gujarat, and ceremonially violated the law manufacturing salt by boiling seawater. Now Gandhiji started, he has taken the initiative that now on the 6th April 1930 he ceremonially violated the salt law, and then he decided that now the Indian people will make their own salt by the boiling seawater. In order to crush the civil disobedience movement, the colonial government once again followed the policy of repression and arrested many leaders, including Mahatma Gandhi ji and Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Now that when the civil disobedience movement got success, then again Britishers became so much panic, and they were ready to repress, to compel and to exploit the Indian, as they saw the success of the civil disobedience movement, that without any cause they just started to arrest the Indian leaders and the freedom fighters, including Mahatma Gandhi ji and Abdul Ghaffar Khan. In the countryside, in the village area also, rich peasants community like the Patidars of Gujarat and the Jats of Uttar Pradesh were active in civil disobedience movement. Now, when we say in civil disobedience movement in Gujarat, the Patidars and Jats of the Uttar Pradesh, these two communities were so much active in the civil disobedience movement. The industrial working class did not participate in civil disobedience movement. Who had not taken part in the civil disobedience movement? The industrial working class, in large numbers except the Nagpur region. A large number of women also participated in civil disobedience movement. And why the civil disobedience movement is important? As the first time women, Indian women, took part in any type of Indian movement, nationalist movement, and it was civil disobedience movement. Mahatma Gandhi declared that Swaraj would not come in India for 100 years if untouchability was not eliminated. Now again Mahatma Gandhi ji come out with the idea that if in India there was a challenge regarding untouchability, then we cannot unite all the Indians, because Swaraj or Purna Swaraj can only be achieved when every single citizen of India think that they all are equal and they all are belong to a one motherland. He called the untouchable Harijan, or the children of God. The meaning of Harijan according to Mahatma Gandhi, the children of God. Hari plus Jan. Hari means God, Jan means people. So according to Mahatma Gandhi, he has given the name Harijan to the untouchable, which means children of God. Mahatma Gandhi organized satyagraha to secure entry of the Harijans in temples, access to public wells, roads and schools. Mahatma Gandhi again that Indian society should not secure the entry of the Harijan in the temples, public wells and roads and schools. It means he was in the favor of equality. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar organized the Dalits into Depressed Classes Association in 1930. Who has organized Dalits into the Depressed Class Association in 1930? Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. The Pune Pact was signed between Mahatma Gandhi ji and Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar in Pune, September 1932. This pact gave the depressed classes reserved seats in the provincial and the central legislative council, which pact has given the reserved seats in provincial and central legislative councils for Dalits? Pune Pact. Nationalism spread rapidly when people began to believe that they all were part of the same nation. History and fiction, songs and folklore, paints and symbols all played a great part in developing the spirit of nationalism in India. Now that the feeling of nationalism not only limited to the common people, worker, peasants, farmers, but now the artistic section also, like the folk songs writer, painters, and creative artists, all are feeling with the nationalism feeling, and they are showing their talent in the form of, and they are portraying the image of Bharat Mata when they were writing the songs of Vande Mataram. Inspired by the Swadeshi movement, Abhindranath Tagore painted his famous image of Bharat Mata. As the national movement developed, nationalist leaders became more and more aware of such icons and symbols in unifying citizens, inspiring in them a feeling of nationalism. So it is all about beta the revision, your revision of nationalism in India, as it is coming as in the unit 1 examination in history. Nationalism in India is coming, and now we are going revision, a quick revision of our political science chapter, power sharing, as this is the second chapter which is coming in your online unit 1 examination for class 10th. Now the summary of power sharing, that what is power sharing? The sharing of power among legislature, executive and judiciary is very important for the success of democracy. It can be discussed by presenting the example of Belgium and Sri Lanka, that I have discussed in my earlier video, that how in Belgium and Sri Lanka there was a different challenges when we talk about the power sharing. Belgium, first we talk about the Belgium. Once again, Belgium was a small country in Europe area wise. It is smaller than the state of Haryana. Its population is about half of the population in Haryana. It has border with France, Germany, Luxembourg and the Netherlands. On the country's total population, 59% people live in Flemish region. They speak Dutch. 40% is speaking French, and 1% people speak German. It is all about the population of the country's population in Belgium. The capital of Belgium is Brussels. In Brussels, 80% people speak French, while 20% speak Dutch. Tension grew between Dutch-speaking and French-speaking community during the 1950s and 1960s, especially a capital city Brussels. That how the Dutch and French-speaking people, there was a tension between French and Dutch-speaking people in Sri Lanka, and it has increased in 1950 to 1960. Brussels presented a special problem that the Dutch-speaking people constitute majority in the country but minority in the capital. Brussels come up with the idea that in special problem, Brussels come up with that Dutch-speaking people are in majority in the country, but the Dutch-speaking people having the minority section in the Brussels. Sri Lanka is an island nation with diverse population, having mainly Sinhala speaker 74% and Tamil speaker 18%. Tamils are divided into two groups, Sri Lankan Tamils and Indian Tamil. Most of the Sinhalas are Buddhist, while most of the Tamils are Hindus or Muslim. In Belgium, the Dutch community and Sri Lanka, the Sinhalese community could take the advantage of the majority by imposing their own will on other community. So it is that in Sri Lanka, Sinhala speaker were in majority, so they impose all the regulation, they give the opportunity in jobs and other you can say other field only to the Sinhala language speaker, while the other Indian Tamils and the Sri Lankan Tamils were not having the same benefit from the government. There was an autocratic rule in Sri Lanka by the majority section, and it belonged to the Sinhala language. Now next we have discussed it that how the accommodation in Belgium has held, then important the forms of power sharing, that how many types of power sharing there will be. So in democracy there are different forms of power sharing. One, the most common form of power sharing in modern democracy is when we share the power among the legislature, executive and judiciary. Second, when we share the power between center and state government, when we share powers in the social groups like community government, and when we share powers among political party, pressure groups and movements, so these are the other interest group. So this is known as the forms of power sharing in modern democracy. After that, the important term also, that the definition of power sharing, what is democracy, what is legislature, the definition of executive, judiciary, what is minority community, what do you understand by ethnic, then what is Indian Tamil, then refugee, then prudential, what do you understand by the prudential reason for democracy, then what is horizontal distribution of power, check and balances, differentiate between federal government and legitimate government. So whatever we have done from these two chapters, nationalism in India and another is the power sharing, all the notes is to be revised, all the important terms and key factor, as it can be asked in fill-ups, true false, or very short question, or the short question, long question. So you have to go through with all that question answer, how much we have completed, and the definition and the content notes which you have maintained in your notebook after the every lecture. So these all about the revision of these two chapter, and I am giving you the homework which is based on these revision two chapters. I am giving you certain short answer question for tomorrow Wednesday lecture, and you have to do it as a revision purpose work, and you have to revise all these two chapters, as this video is only for the unit 1 examination revision test. Good luck, all the best.